initiative steps, and also he has accepted our invitation to grace our function as a successful one. So, on behalf of SAIPA, I welcome Dr. Syed Habib sir. You are most welcome to our session, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. I hope my audio is clear.
Audio and videos are perfect, sir. And then I want one permission, sir, that student can unmute themselves or not, sir?
No, only when required. If there's a question answer, I think we should be able to allow them to unmute. Okay. Till then, I will require the screen sharing rights because I've got a presentation and I want to interact with them through that.
Okay, so whenever it is required, students should raise the hand so that we can unmute themselves.
Sure, sure. Anybody requires to ask any questions, I will give you sufficient time at the end of the session to ask questions. So anybody requires to clarify, write down a question, write down whatever questions come to your mind, write it down and keep so that at the end of the session, you can ask me those questions.
Thank you, sir. Most welcome.
So can we start?
Yes, sure, sir. We shall start, sir. You are most welcome, sir.
Yeah. You've allowed me screen sharing rights, right? Okay. Okay, first of all, the people who have joined, I understand, I also acknowledge that today is Sunday and it's a very difficult day for anybody to come and join a program in the morning. So congratulations on that. You happen to be people who really want to do something in life. So that's a clear indication. So with that, it's exciting for me to have an audience who wants to learn. Otherwise, it's very difficult for us to interact with people. If people are not willing to learn, it's very difficult. So though I'm not able to see you people, I have a good feeling in my heart that people are here on a Sunday morning to spend some time to get better, become better. And that's the only potential we as human beings have. The title I've chosen for today, and it's a very crucial title, and it's a cusp. It's a title which addresses 3 generations. The generations which belong to my father, the generation which I am in, the generation which belongs to our children. So I'm trying to look at this particular title, The Power of Imperfection. I borrowed it from my own book, the subtitle of my own book, The Stripeless Zebra. And I'm going to talk about this. This is an amazing topic. And I hope there's some value add you all have in this particular topic, because this is something which is, I go with the current issues which are there among the youth and the main segment of society. I try to address those issues. So current issue, I find that there's a big battle between us within our families, within our own self, first our own self, and then within the families and within the corporate or the workplace, where we are all looking at trying to push people to become perfect, right? So I'm trying to address this, and I'll if you have questions during my presentation, just write it down, and we will have an exclusive 10 to 15 minutes question answer at the end. I'll try to wind up the presentation within about 40 minutes or 45 minutes max, so that then you have enough time for you to ask those questions. Manzuba, this is a story, okay? Manzuba was an athlete in Africa, and he had this amazing energy to run. He was a good runner, he was a sprinter, and he always stood first. Whichever competition he took part in, he stood first. So in his village, there were a lot of competitions, and whenever there was a competition, he stood first. And he used to love running. And whenever he, clinched the title, when he actually, completed the race and he won, and he was celebrating, he used to look around, and the entire village used to be, applauding, encouraging him and saying, fantastic, great job. But there was one man, the wisest man in the entire village, called Kawame. Kawame never looked up or never encouraged Manzuba's victory. He never clapped. He never seemed excited. So Manzuba is always, looking at Kawame and wondering, why is he not applauding? Why is he not clapping for me? This went on. Manzuba grew from step to step as an athlete. Then there was that entire group of villages who came together for that annual event. Many villages came together, and it was a tough competition. Manzuba was almost, losing. He was third, second, and then first, then third, second. He was battling, and at the finish line, he gave all he had in his life, and he somehow, with a photo finish, he came first. Among all the villages, his village people stood up and shouted and clapped, and they were absolutely thrilled that Manzuba clinched the title. So Manzuba was thrilled after winning the race. And then he looked at Kawame. Kawame was sitting quiet. He didn't move. He didn't clap. So Manzuba walked up to Kawame and said, "What can I do to make you clap for me? What can I do that you will encourage me and you'll applaud, you'll appreciate what I have done?" So Kawame was very calm. He turned around and he said, "Son, you have to win one race. If you win one race, I'll clap for you. I'll be thrilled." So Manzuba said, "Any race, tell me any race." So Kawame presented a blind man and an old woman. He presented a blind man and an old woman and said, "You race with them." Manzuba started, he was shocked. He said, "What are you talking? Are you insane? Is this a joke? A blind man and an old woman? How can I race with them?" He said, "You asked me which is the race you're going to, really applaud and clap for. This is the race. You run with them and show me." So they went to the start line. Manzuba is like, "I can jog and win." And the race starts, and Manzuba is off. He just goes off. He doesn't care about anything. And all the villagers are watching. It's the same stadium. All the villagers are there. All the villagers are watching. And he runs, and with that flow, he just goes across the winning line. But this time, when he crosses the winning line, not one single person claps. Not one single person in the entire audience claps. Nobody claps. And Manzuba is shocked. He turns around. The public is silent. He turns around and looks. That old man, the old woman and the blind man are still at the start. They don't know what to do. They don't know. They have no clue. And they're standing there. Suddenly something happens inside him. Manzuba his conscience wakes up. He has some thoughts inside. And he instantaneously, he's instinctively, he walks back to the start line, catches hold of both these people, the blind man and the old woman. He catches both of their hands and he starts taking them towards the finish line. He walks slowly. It takes him more than 10 minutes to walk that race of just 400 meters. He walks, and as he approaches the finish line with these two people patiently walking, the entire crowd, all the villages, not only his village, all the villagers are standing on their feet and they're clapping for him. There's a roar. The entire stadium, there is a lot of noise. People are thrilled. People are crying. Manzuba is crying. And then he looks from the corner of his eyes. He sees Kawame standing up and clapping as he moves across the finish line. Manzuba is crying for no reason. He walks up to Kawame and said, "What happened?" He says, "All the races you won in your life was your hunger to be number one. But this race, so all the races you ran earlier, it was for you to win. You wanted to win yourself. But this race, it's the race where mankind has won." What a thought, what a beautiful example. Look at this example as life. Most of us are running this entire life as a race where I want to be one. I want to be the number one. I want to win. I don't care about others. That's the world works exactly like this, right? My dear brothers and sisters, this message which I'm giving you is just not a personality development program. It is the truth. It is the truth, and it is very hard, very harsh, and we all are a part of the system. And the system is built up. And you know who are the culprits? I'm sorry to tell you this. The culprits are all of us. The culprits are our education system, the people who run the education system, the people who hire, the people who get into this corporate world, the people who are in that absolute competition to be number one, irrespective of whoever loses. I don't care. That's the way the world is working today. And that's how we all have got into this rat race. It's not a race, it's called a rat race. You may be the fattest rat, you may be the tallest rat, you may be the strongest rat, you may be the fairest rat, but you're a rat at the end of the day. Why do you accept this race? Just because we've been trained from our childhood? And an absolute mess. This is not the way the people who are wise live. This is not the way people who are leaders live. This is not the way the prophets live. Peace be upon them. Did they race with each other? It's a shame on us that we race with people. Our neighbor buys a new car, we want a similar car. Our neighbor buys a flat, we want a similar flat. What's happened to us? Is this a purpose of life? Even after all these 3 years of COVID, we have not woken up. Are we so blind? We want to be a part of the race. And then now we want to push our children into the same race. Astaghfirullah. Unbelievable. How ridiculous can we be? How blind can we be? You have to be there in the system, but not in the race. We have to be a part of the system. We have to work in the corporates. We have to do the best. We should not be a part of the race. We should reject this race because there's no race actually. It's an illusion. It's an illusion. What's the disease? What is the disease? I just Googled, the word I. You don't know what kind of rubbish I got. I, me, myself. There are poems. There are books written on I, me, myself. I, me, myself is a destructive attitude. It's going to destroy you. It's going to destroy the people around you. Look at this. Some people have written, about I, me, myself. They've written so much. And they say life is just about me. Life is once. I just live only once. So that's the narrative. That's the vocabulary. That's the, language has a lot of power. Your words and my words have a lot of power. And we start listening to the new vocabulary. Have you seen there's a new vocabulary coming in? New language, new style of language, right? New style in all the languages. You take Hindi, you take Urdu, you take Kannada, Tamil, you take English. A lot of new words are coming in, new languages, and we have lost the actual juice of the original language. And we are believing all the stuff which comes up, the rubbish which comes up, right? Look at this. 10 years, 15 years, 20 years back, 30 years back, most of these words did not exist. We start believing them. Bored, anxiety, depression. And you know what? We have got clinics. We've got hospitals who are catered to these words, tension, stress. Have you ever remembered your grandfather talking about tension, boredom, anxiety, depression? A few may be there, anger may be there, and it's fine if you are a bit angry. It's human nature to be angry sometimes. Why do you want to be 100% perfect? Why? Did God send us to be perfect? Absolutely not. Yeah, listen to this. It's very important. We want to be perfect as human beings, right? And not only that, we want others to be perfect. More than us, we want others to be perfect. Look at the stress which it creates, look at the issue it creates, asking for perfection. And you know what? Most of the inventions, most of the discoveries which happen in the world are because of mistakes, not by people looking at perfection. Most of them, penicillin, the injection or the antibiotics, it was a mistake. It was discovered by error. It was discovered by mistake. X-ray, the pacemaker which they put in the heart, it was a mistake. Rubber, which you use in the tires and so many applications, was a mistake. It was not a journey of perfection. Okay, here, there's a distinction. We can do things perfectly, but as human beings, we cannot be perfect. There's a big difference. You can do things perfectly. You can't do half-baked job, right? You have to do, if you drive, you should drive perfectly. But it doesn't mean I'm perfect. I may have flaws. Don't expect yourself or others to be perfect, but try to see that your job is done perfectly. That is the journey of excellence. It's called the journey of ihsan, excellence. Anyway, I'll come to this slide a little later. Okay, I'll talk about this slide a little later. But let me go forward. Till now, is everybody clear with what I'm talking? Is everybody understanding what I'm saying? Oh, Tamil is not very good here. My Tamil, if I speak, you people will not like it. So I do speak Tamil, but I will not be able to speak, fluently. So I'll continue in English. I'm sure whatever I'm going to speak, you will understand. And if you have any questions, I'll be able to answer at the end. Okay, let us continue. So this slide, I'll come back to it. Now I'm taking certain case studies because I'm trying to see what is actually happening in the world today. How are we so disconnected with the reality and living in an illusion? We're not living in reality. We are living in an illusion. We're not in reality. Now, we have all been through the COVID times, right? And in the COVID times, we had, I was a part of the front line and back-end support of a lot of volunteers. And what we saw, I saw these things. That's why I'm putting this forward as a real COVID test. I call it the real RT-PCR test. Okay. And what's the real RT-PCR test? We saw a son abandon a father because he was COVID positive. We saw it. He just abandoned. A husband abandoning a wife when she turned COVID positive. A body, a person who died out of COVID, the body was abandoned and it was not allowed to be buried. In one of the initial stages, it was not allowed to be buried. We had a neighbor here when we had oxygen cylinders in the second wave. A neighbor who came and he started protesting, how can you put oxygen cylinders here? Because that will, those oxygen cylinders save hundreds of lives. And this person on the neighborhood comes and objects, saying that, how can you put cylinders here? If you keep cylinders here, my family may get affected. This is what we witnessed in reality. And we all have forgotten. We all have forgotten because our memories are very short-lived and we move forward. The real RT-PCR test. You know what was lost during all this? What I saw, what I witnessed, and that's what I'm putting forward to you. Check yourself inside. Check yourselves, because that test is very important for our akhirah and for our dunya. We are so dunya focused, we're so material focused that we have lost basics. Respect was lost, trust was lost, no patience, no compassion, and no responsibility. I saw this through the 2.5 years of COVID. We saw all this being broken down. What's the value of human beings being perfect? Now, what was the little tweak which was required? And what is the story which I can give you? What is the example which I can give you which will make us feel, wow, there is hope. And this is the model I need to work. What is that? So that attitude of I, me, myself, that has to be shifted. I'm telling you, please think about it for your own self. How much of time I spent on my own self? Any of the prophets, did they hoard wealth? Did they buy a lot of stuff for themselves? Did they spend time in the malls? Did they spend time shopping? Just go, take basics and come. Need-based. What is me? It's greed-based. A greed-based life can never do anything for itself or never do anything for others. A need-based, you just need a need-based life, basics. That's all you need. You need to get into a greed-based only if you're in the rat race. Think about it. Why should you get into that race? So if you are able to tweak a bit and you see tweak, just turn that word around from we to me. From me to we. Just a bit of tweak. And that will really make a big difference in the whole thing. Now, what happened? Let me tell you about this. There's a cycle of which is usually a cycle of teamwork. This is from major psychologists and major world leaders or major people who understand HR or how the team works. They have put this whole thing into a 4-stage process. How teams work or how teams are built. Which is the smallest team? Can anybody write in the chat? Which is the smallest team you know? Which is the smallest team you know? Smallest team. Give me an example of a small team. Type it in the chat. Which is the smallest team you know in this world? Smallest team, yeah? Team is made of 2 people. It can't be I, because the smallest team is a husband and wife. Yeah, right. Husband and wife is the smallest team, and then it becomes a little larger, it becomes a family, right? So I'm talking from that perspective to a large team which you work in the corporate or the society, right? So it's a part of the entire system. Fantastic, great. Now, listen to this. Any team, when it forms, okay? So we'll take the example of the smallest team, the husband and wife. So there is forming, or coming together, becoming a marriage, a wedding, nikah. That's forming. That's the first stage. It's so nice. Everything is so looking so good. Everything is so hunky-dory. Everything is like, wow, it's exciting and all that, right? That's the forming stage. That's the first stage. Second stage. Then suddenly you realize that I expected this and this is not there and that is not there. And there are different views. I think like this, he thinks like this, she thinks like this and all that. That's the storming phase. Every team goes through these 4 phases. Forming, after forming, there is a storming. Storming can be any time between 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. People don't endure storming. That's why they break up. You need to endure. You need to endure storming. You need to go through that phase. Only then you go into the next phase, which is norming, where you normalize and you understand the person. Okay, this person has, these are the strengths and these are the weaknesses. Oh, I accept the person as the person is. That's the actual place where you're saying Kubul kiya, or I do agree. You actually tell it in the forming, but you're actually in right sense agreeing or accepting the person in the norming stage, right? Because you've gone through the storming and you know each other very well, and then you say, okay, this is all this person can do, or this is all this person can do, right? So that's the way where you agree and you start norming, and then comes performing. Then you work together as a team to build something good. This is the normal 4 stages of any team building, starting from a husband-wife family to a corporate or to your own society or friend circle. That is how it works. Now, I saw something very ridiculous, very crazy. How if we are able to bypass the 2 difficult stages? What are the 2 difficult stages? Storming and norming, right? And if you do it as imperfect people, accepting that, okay, we are imperfect, fine, we are imperfect, right? What happens is storming and norming is because you're expecting the other person to be perfect. He should be perfect. Yeah, he should be exact. He should be like, the heroes or the heroines or the ideal all rubbish. Anyway, I saw this bypass, these two stages. We had a team which formed and straight away got into performance. Forming and straight away performing. No in-betweens. I mean, it's not bad to have storming and norming, no problem. But I saw this happening with imperfect people. When did it happen? When a team, I'm a part of a team. I'm the president of this team called Mercy Mission in Karnataka, in Bangalore. And it was an amazing, incredible experience. Of course, there's a team of a lot of people who came together and formed this lovely team. So I'm taking this up as a case study with you all. So this was a team of imperfect individuals who came together in March 2020, just before the lockdown, and said, we're all from different NGOs, 2025 NGOs. We said something big is coming up and it can be a disaster for mankind. Let's all put our differences aside and start working together. So I'm just doing a case study of this. We had over 2,000 volunteers across Karnataka, now across Bangalore, and I think an equal number across Karnataka, who worked relentlessly on different verticals to save mankind, to provide ration, to provide food, to have kitchens, to serve the trains. Incredible kind of work has happened. So I'm just going to give you this. Why am I using this? This is possible. And if you take the span of a human life, it's about 70, 75 years. Average in India is about 65, 70 years. And in that life, we have time to spend on nonsense. We have so much time to fight with each other. I mean, I can't understand this. We don't have time actually. Let's do something. Let's focus a lot of time on doing something good. You will not have to deal with nonsense. Right? So what happened? These people who came together, our team which came together for 20, 25 NGOs, the heads came, the volunteers came together, dropped all the differences and said, let's make the team and let's start working from today. And we had no understanding of how to handle the situation. But when you come together, God Almighty also sends help. And we had incredible kind of help. We can't imagine the kind of impact it created. We were applauded by the center, the state government, the center, and some of the world, agencies and different organizations that, applauded us. What happened? When we formed, we sensed the danger to mankind. We saw fear and death. Everybody saw that coming. This fear, it's going to be immense fear. It's going to be death. So you have choices. You can fight or flight. They say in psychology, when you have a situation, you either fight it or you run away from it. So we had people who were ready to fight. So what we did, we put them in the front line. There were people ready to fight. I can do it. It doesn't matter. COVID, hey, no problem. I'm going to come in the front line. So we put them in the front line. People who are scared, not very, okay. We put them at home and say, you work from home. So both combinations work. So we used both fight and flight, both to our advantage. So some of them who decided to fight, most of them actually, were age group of about 15, 16 years up to the age of 35 years. That's the volunteer age group who came out. And you know what? Most of these people who did this kind of work are people who are put down by their relatives, by their parents. They are put down by their teachers. They are the same youngsters who people call them hopeless, who people say you are good for nothing. They are the ones who came out in the open and they stood and they fought. You have to acknowledge this. You have to understand. You have to learn from this, right? And why? They focused on the why. Why are they doing this? Their why was very clear. As a human being, as a believer, I'm supposed to stand. And this is the sunnah. I have to support. I'm supposed to stand and do good for mankind. That is such a powerful thing for a 15-year, 16-year-old saying that I'm asking them, why are you doing this? This is our duty. I have to do this. What are you talking? I have to go out and do something for the people. There's so many dying. There's so many without beds, no oxygen. I have to do it. Why? I asked them why. That's how God will be pleased with me. If I do this, only God will say, I can say, right? I can say that this is what best I could do. If God asked me what you did, I said, I tried. Amazing kind of work. Then the who, where, how, when, what came. After the why, who, how, where, when, what came automatically. I mean, what happened was once people came together with this why, they bonded together and started working. You should have seen the kind of support which came from people, because when they searched, they didn't find enough teams on the ground. Nobody was willing to come on the ground. So anybody who wanted to give help, like we had the Azim Premji Foundation, we had the Zomato Feeding India, we had so many, Act FiberNet. All these people had money, had material, but they did not know how to distribute. So they approached us and said, "Can you help us? Can you help us?" We had to organize godowns in Bangalore, multiple godowns to stock material and distribute it to people. I'll give you the statistics which are mind-blowing. I'll give you the statistics, what happened. But then I'm trying to, the issue is not about the statistics. The issue is about the power of coming together, being together, not expecting perfection. No, don't expect perfection. Try excellence. It's a beautiful journey. Trying to push people to be perfect. You know what? Notice people who have this OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. They're obsessed about things. They want to be perfect. They have very few friends. They can't do much in life. And they have friends only who are perfect. Otherwise, they can't be friends with others because they get upset. They get upset with themselves and they get upset with others. So in different areas of your life, your career, your spirituality, in your pursuit of good health, in your pursuit of making wealth, in your pursuit of doing anything for your family, please quit this journey of perfection. Get into excellence. Do your best. And that's so beautiful because you can keep going a notch better, a notch better, a notch better. Otherwise, you're trying to do perfection, which is not possible. They say very beautifully, the most perfect man on earth is lying perfect inside the grave. Only after you get into the grave, you'll be perfectly lying still. Otherwise, you can't achieve that. If you're waiting for perfection to do something in life, you're in a dreamland. It's not going to happen, right? One of the most beautiful things people who are not going towards perfection have is that they have no assumptions, right? You don't have no assumption. Negative assumptions are not there. And the other thing is ego. I have to be known. Why they didn't call me? Why they didn't invite me? Why my name was not taken? Why the award was not given? Absolutely not. So I witnessed all this happening, which helped bypass the storming and norming phase. Now, let me move forward. So this is what happened. What happened after that? United efforts coming together, has a deep impact. It was scalable. We could scale it. People started modeling our model across the country. People were able to take large project and execute. People created deep impact. 2,500 plus bodies buried and cremated by our team. It looks ridiculous. It's impossible, right? If 1 or 2 people or 5 people try to do this, can't happen, right? So amazing, incredible kind of work has happened. Now, what am I calling you towards? Change the narrative. This new narrative which you can bring into your life is if somebody talks about being bored, I'm feeling very bored. You have to accept that monotony, being silent, keeping quiet and sitting down is perfectly fine. It's nothing wrong. Anxiety is being curious. You're trying to learn something. Instead of being anxious, put that anxious word away and replace it with the word, I'm being curious. Why have you to accept this word? I'm having an anxiety attack, all that. Depression, he's resting, I'm taking rest. If you believe, you will get stuck. If you believe these words, anxiety, depression, frustration, we get stuck. Anger, for me, anger is energy. When I get angry with something, I say, wow, man, I've got so much energy. I can use it for something good. You need to reframe. You should not frame, you should reframe. Frustrated is exploring. A mind which is absolutely dull cannot be frustrated, right? A dull mind, can it be frustrated? It can't. So replace frustration by saying, I'm really exploring, man. I want a solution. I'm exploring. right? And look at the words killer. I don't know, the kind of new vocabulary, it's so, right? So people, when they don't like somebody and they want others to be perfect, they use this word, I hate it. So commonly used, right? You say, I differ. Well, you don't need to hate somebody. I differ with the person. I don't agree. But that's fine. Why should you say, I hate this person, I hate this person's ideas? Look at the word itself. It's creating such a negativity for your own self, right? So please be careful about the words which the new generation is bringing, and you have your own new narrative, right? When people say you are looking very stressed, you say I'm very alive. Only an alive person can experience that, right? A dead person can't be. So you're alive. That's why this entire package of being alive, having this a bit of anger, a bit of curiosity, a bit of resting, a bit of monotony. Sometimes it's good to just take the chair, go sit in the thing and watch the garden. Today, people don't want that. They have to be doing something. It's such an activated environment. The rats are running, so you need to run, right? People are on Insta. You have to be on Insta. You have to be on Facebook. You have to be not required. Take a break. In a day, put off your cell phone for 3 hours. Nothing's going to change in this world. You're going to get back some, they say, sukoon, right? It's about monotony. Shepherds used to sit on the rock and watch all the sheep just going and grazing, and they did nothing. And shepherds were some of the most wisest and intelligent people. So they never went to any university. They became prophets. So the journey of perfection has certain attributes, and journey of excellence has certain attributes. In perfection, you have focus. I win. I don't care what happens to you. I can, my way. I can't do. I earn the hate of others, which people don't like. Somebody who's trying to win and so arrogant about his own victory and not bothered about others. How many people like it? Okay, I scratch your back myself. Only if you do something for me, I can do something for you. It's like a business transaction. And with the parents, some youngsters come to the parents, what did you do for me? That's the question they ask. Ridiculous. This is a journey of perfection, right? Journey of excellence. I win, you win, we win. We all can together. We are a bigger force when we are together. It's our way. Let's build the way, build the team. Let's earn respect. Let's accept diversity. And in this journey, you experience a lot of happiness, though you're imperfect. A lot of happiness. I mean, during those COVID days also, when we were working and we saw so much of distress and death, the entire team at the end of the evening when we meet, and at the end of certain weeks when we used to have our own gatherings and reflections, there used to be crying, there used to be laughter, there used to be reflections. It's an amazing time. And what we did is just incredible. What we experienced was incredible. None of the people who sat at home, not coming out in the world, experienced that. They were in fear. Some of the volunteers did sit down in the houses and also made calls and helped the way they could. But the guys and the girls who came on the front line, they had a very different experience. What do you see? Please type out on the screen what you see on my screen. Type out what you see on the screen right now. What do you see on the screen? Whatever you see. What is it that you see on the screen? Monotony. No, what do you see? Plain and simple. Who are they? What do you see? Aren't you able to see a picture on my screen? On my screen, is there a picture? Yes, what is the picture? Who do you see sitting there? Who can you see sitting there on that picture? No, who are there are two, right? There are two, who are there sitting there? Resting person. No. You're not able to see? Someone in prison. Slide hasn't changed, okay? Okay, okay. This is the slide. Are you seeing now? What is the slide? Are you seeing? What's the slide you see? Okay, excellence narrative and okay. Okay, this is what you saw. Now, did that slide change? Perfection and excellence. Okay, okay, ठीक है. Let me try. Let me try once more. Did you see now any change? Okay, I will reshare the entire presentation once again. One minute. Just give me a minute, please. Okay, just give me a minute. So, which is the slide here? Can you see the slide which has perfection and excellence? Okay. Now, just tell me if it changes to the red hand and the heart. Yeah? Okay. Now, what do you see? What do you see now? There's a picture you see, right? What do you see? Ah, somebody said boy and a girl couple sitting. Okay. Okay. One boy, one girl, one couple. Together we can win couple sitting. Okay. It was not a couple. Can you see this? What am I trying to prove? I'm trying to tell you that our minds, God has already made our minds with the ability to assume. It assumes. Okay. It does not. It just does not absorb what is there. It just starts putting things together. It also puts things together. So it's very assumptive. What kind of assumptions do a person who's perfect have, and what kind of assumptions does a person who's going for excellence has? There are different assumptions, right? So a person who wants to be perfect, his assumptions are very different. Me kind of assumptions. If somebody doesn't look, why didn't he look at me? Why wasn't I not invited to the event? Why is he better than me? Why was my idea not accepted? Why was I not recognized? These are the assumptions which lead to what? Hatred, jealousy, competing, and ego. These are me assumptions. Are you able to see the screen? Me assumptions. But then, what is true leadership? It's not about getting into the newspapers. True leadership is not about being called on stage and given a prize. There is a lump of flesh in our body. And if that is good, the entire body is good. If that is corrupted, the entire body gets corrupted, and that is the heart. We all agree to this, right? Why don't we work on creating a beautiful heart? Why are we so caught up in the race where nobody addresses the heart, right? The feelings? Everybody addresses the success in terms of material, right? What are we assumptions? So this team who came together and after forming straight away went for performing, had this beautiful assumption. If somebody didn't talk, they had the assumption maybe he is preoccupied. It's okay. They didn't invite you to an event or a function. Maybe it skipped their minds. It's fine. Or somebody else performed and completed the goal. Fantastic, man. At least the goal was complete. My idea was not accepted. Alhamdulillah, it's fine. Maybe my idea would have not created a better outcome. I was not recognized on stage. People were called on stage, given award. Chief Minister called and gave awards to few people, and all that happened. Why was I not called on the stage? And what is the assumption people who belong to this the B category has? True recognition is in the hereafter. If I get an award in the hereafter, it's fine. I have done my job. That's how you need to check out do your real RT-PCR. Do I still respect people even if I don't like them? Do I trust my family? Do I trust myself? Do I trust my family? Do I trust myself to support others when they are in need? Do I have the patience when I see people not behaving the way I want them to behave? Do I have compassion in supporting someone who has done wrong to me? Can I take responsibility of everybody, irrespective of caste, color, creed? You know what? This is not business. Our business is with the one who created us. It's not with people. Even if people misbehave with us, we have to behave well because of the why. Because the transaction is upwards, not like this. It's not with people, it's with the one who created us. If we have that why intact, our relationships will be fine, our career will be fine, our health will be better. All the other areas of our life will be strong. We need to correct our basics. We are going wrong in our basics. We are in the wrong race. We have to get out of the race and start walking. It's better to walk and be happy than be in a race and be sad. What did our team do? So you're talking about performing, right? Forming, after forming, straight away performing. I'm showing you proof now. I'm giving you proof of what performance happened. 1,40,000 dry ration kits were distributed worth 15 crores during that time. One man couldn't do it, right? It was a team which came. 33 kitchens which distributed over 30 lakh meals. And I think more. This is the data I have. Only that first year data is what I'm sharing with you, right? 107 trains, which helped 1.32 lakhs. I think the number actually was across 2 lakhs. People get back to their houses with food enough to last them for about 10 days. Food for the train, food for them to last. Migrants were getting out of the cities, right? So these kind of work, Mercy Angels are one of our teams, enabled cremation as well as burial of 2,500 dead bodies. Some of the abandoned dead bodies. We have stories. I have stories to tell you, which will take me years and years and years. 2 lakh citizens helped on COVID, immediate COVID relief. 43, at an average, 6,000 calls were being handled by our backend team, our helpline. 43,000 calls only in that first stint, that few months happened. 43,000 distress calls were, attended. We had 3 hospitals we catered. We took care. We have set up oxygen plants to make the hospital enabled in any future disaster as well. The hospital can take care. Incredible, unbelievable, right? We had the biggest bank of oxygen cylinders in Bangalore, and we had plasma donors, we had plasma bank, we had ambulance services, we had 50 doctors online. Incredible work, which was completed and done by imperfect people just coming together. That's my message to you. Your family, your husband, your wife, your children need not be perfect. It's only that you need to give your heart to each of them so that they're all together. If you're together, there's a lot of barakah which comes. There's help from the Almighty which comes. If you're perfect and divided, nothing's going to happen. You're going to die perfect. You're going to die perfect. But imperfection has a lot of power. It has a lot of power of enabling you to tolerate and manage and be with each other and be bonded. And that is my message for you. If you're able to do this, you can create incredible kind of societies, families. It starts with the family. You can create incredible societies and a beautiful world. And that's, I think, the purpose why God has sent us. With this, I end my session, but I open for a few 10 minutes of question answer because I've got another meeting I have to rush to. I have also put forward the 3 books which are available on Amazon, my 3 books. And please do buy, recommend some, a big portion of any profits which come out of these books go for a social cause. So you can follow me on Instagram at coach_Habib or on Facebook at Habib360. So that's about it from my end right now. I am open for questions. I think I can take about a couple of questions. Before I really close, I have a one-liner for you and I hope you agree to this one-liner. Thank you, and I open it for questions. Rabik bhai, are you there? Am I audible? Hello. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your kind words. I look forward to coming over and meeting you offline, and in probably an event. We have a lot of work we can do within. I mean, it's 1 hour is too short. I do events which are 1 day, 2 day events. So probably if the team, SAIPA team organizes, I can come down and spend a day. Especially, I can do a session on families or couples. So that could be something you can explore. Couples ke liye sessions are very, very important. I very strongly believe that if we have a strong couple, two people coming together and being strong, you can build a fantastic family. Yes, Hafid, go ahead. Ask me the question. Thank you. I think Hafid needs to be unmuted. Shafid,
Okay.
Shafid, sorry.
We will give a permission.
Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum, Habib sir. Sorry, couldn't hear you.
Yeah, Shafid.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you for the
Salam.
wonderful presentation you gave. It's very touching.
Thank you.
Okay, straight away go to the question.
Yeah.
Okay, nowadays I have attended a few psychological training and self-development. Presently, what they start with the emphasis on the I for the self. That's a current trend. Like, okay, even in our families, we look, last time we lived in a joint family. Even to say like, for they use a one soap, common bath towel, everybody shared them. But nowadays, one person can use a different type of shower gel, 3 types of shower gel. That's how the individual emphasize on that. So the modern, maybe the current youth, they believe in the self passion and the individuality. That's what drive to the success. So in this scenario, how do we go about the team building? Because what they believe is like somebody has to sacrifice in a team to want to win. Even in a family, as a leader to win, somebody has to sacrifice the passion or the individuality for that. So how do we say individual success contribute to the team?
So good
how to
question. I
sacrifice
think it's a very fine question. It's a very fine line also to understand this.
Yes, sir.
Two things. I think we can pull this into two aspects. One is the purpose. The purpose of building the team. Usually in the corporate, the purpose is to just make more money. So that's why everybody is focused towards that. But if you break it up a bit more and try to understand, it is you'll also have to accept and you'll have to respect the current environment. The environment is what? It is so instigated with variety. If you see, there are people back in some of the countries who are the think tank. They sit down and they think. And you know what they create? 15, 20 years back, how many types of biscuits did we have? When you walk into a shop, you had Parle-G, you had Crack Jack. 20 years back, 15, 20
Yes.
years back, right? Today, if you walk into a shop, how many kind of biscuit packets do you have? Varieties.
Varieties.
Oh God, it's just, earlier, that's why this entire narrative, as I told you, is oriented through the language. There's the people who built a word called boring. Boring was not there in our 15, 20 years back. The word boring was not there, right? Boring was created to open the doors for variety. They created the word boring, saying if you sit quiet, you're boring. If you have one kind of biscuit, it is very boring. If you have one kind of food, it's very boring. If you have one kind of dress, it's very boring. So what if you need, if you have one kind of wife, it is very boring. You have one kind of husband, it's very boring. The narrative is built around one word. And then what people do, oh yeah, it's boring, I need more variety. So it opens doors. So this is a very commercial world. The commercial people to launch more products, they have created this situation that boring is not good. Actually, being bored and sitting quiet is a fantastic thing for a human being sometimes. So while this narrative is there, you cannot beat the world. Can you go into the mall and say, remove all the biscuits? And can you do a protest saying that you don't need variety of products? You can't. Leave that alone. If a kid wants to use a kind of shower gel, a child or an adult wants to use a kind of soap, or that, just leave it alone. Address the bigger issue. We should not address the smaller issue. These are small issues. These are there. If you address the bigger issue, the small issues can be taken. What is the heart of that person? He's using a shower gel, fine. But is that person, when somebody falls on the road, does he have the heart to run and help that person? Those values need to be introduced. If you're able to introduce that into the younger generation, especially by plugging them into projects where they can make a difference. What I realized during this COVID time, youngsters don't have a platform to do something for society. The moment they got this opportunity, Alhamdulillah, all of them came forward. We as youngsters, there are a lot of people here, youngsters, and also people who are in our families. Either they go to the academics or they go to the corporate world, come back, sit down, and they're with their mobile phones. They don't have anything else to do. The why and the purpose, finding the purpose, comes if a person is plugged to doing something good for others. That's the basics we need to work on, right? So even if you're building a team, build it around values. Even if you're building a family, build it around values. It's okay if they use a different brush or paste or a shower gel. Tolerate that. That's a minor part.
Just an example.
No, it's a good example, I'm telling you. It's a very good example because now they want variety of cars also. Look at the number of cars.
Yeah. No, because last time, because of families, I see like they use a common soap. That's how the team, the values.
That's okay. It's okay. Nowadays, people feel that, okay, you should be a little more cleaner because the disease in the older days, about 15, 20 years back, were lesser.
Yeah.
Now, the new complicated disease have come. So it's okay to understand that somebody wants to keep themselves more clean. They don't want to mingle. More information has come up. More awareness is there. So they are using that. We should ignore those parts, but try to align them towards the purpose. Why are you here in this world? What is your purpose? Why are you working in that particular corporate? Why are you working there? Is it just to make some money or making money to do something? In that first salary you get, how much of it you are putting it for the relatives? How much of it you're putting it for friends? How much of it are you putting it for the poor? How much are you putting it for your family? If you are able to orient the culture around giving, then this disease of the heart does not arise. And then you will be able to build better teams.
That's a brilliant answer, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. You can also follow me on those platforms I told you and post your questions or get to me through Mr. Abik, and I'll be more than happy to interact. I look forward if we have offline session wherever it is in Chennai, Vanembadi, or wherever you organize, I'm open to come there. Just book the dates, and I will be more than happy to come. And there are programs which we can do. This is just a talk which I did, but there are programs which are simulated programs which really help families to understand their core and build something better. I think Abu Bakr has raised his hand. I'll take this as the last question.
Assalamu alaikum, sir. Jazakumullah khairan for your a wonderful session, and Alhamdulillah, you've given a very good open eyes through your organizations. The name called Mercy, Alhamdulillah, we came to know we did a lot of, Alhamdulillah. May Allah give me benefit here and hereafter, inshallah. Brother, I just have one question. Yes, being as a person, yes, we are spending our 80%, we can say 80% of life out of our family and being in a corporate business. So maybe remaining like either if people are in abroad and they will spend the time with the yearly once or a maximum 20 days with their family and keeping away, or only weekdays, holidays only we are spending. So 80% of your time spending with the other people in the corporate world. So in that, if you go with the team, of course, I think the brother Safir also highlighted over that in the corporate world, yeah, they are called the team building and teams, and and any one of the persons, key person, can sacrifice all his life or efficiency to achieve the common goal for all of them. So when the purpose over, somehow the people, sometimes it depends on the lead, he'll be recognized or he will be go with the without, and but the purpose will be benefit. But what about the person, the one out of team, he's the only one as a lead and did a very good job to achieve the purpose? So how about him? So in that time, I believe he will go with the depressions, or why these people are, or they are unthankful. So how we will bring up the person again on the same track, and what is the message to that type of persons? I just want to know from that.
Yeah, basically, I understand that when there's a very in the corporate world, there is not much of fairness and justice, and somebody is rewarded and some other person is not rewarded. They feel bad. So again, it comes down to the values, the why. If your why is clear, you will have to orient your team or your people on why are you doing that job, or why are you doing that particular project. Most of the people do not understand that what they are doing has a bigger impact. They just think that they're delivering a project. No, the end of the project is there is a bigger impact for mankind. For example, we dealt with one driver. So I'm just giving you this as an example, and I hope you will understand this. We had this experiment we were running with some of the bus drivers of Bangalore. And we got into one of the buses. One of my colleagues got into the buses, and he sat next to the driver, and he was just talking to him. And he asked him, how's your life? He said, what, sir? What kind of, this is a curse. I'm a driver, it's a curse. What kind of life? I'm the head of this entire area. I'm the topmost driver, and I get paid the same salary. I don't have anything else, no incentives, no recognition, no nothing. I'm depressed completely, and I don't know why I'm living. He was going on and on. Human beings have this habit of blaming and complaining. This is one of the things which we need to stop. The other side is gratitude. Opposite of gratitude is blaming and complaining. Blaming and complaining can take us to kufr. Anyway, so he was talking about this, and he was very upset. Then my colleague said, sir, have you ever thought that just look behind, you've got 50 people in your bus? My colleague, who's a coach, he asked the driver, while the driver is driving his bus, look behind and see there are 50 people. I can see a person who's sitting there who's going for his interview, first job interview. There's another person who's going to see his wife in the hospital. There's another person I can see who's going to this college. The other person, school. 3 people, government officers. There's a policeman who's going to his work. And he started counting the number of lives who were in the bus. And he said, have you ever thought that you are a person who's enabling all their goals to happen? Have you ever thought of how important your job is, how important your role is to take this bus to the destination so that all their goals are completed? That driver instantly started crying. He said, "Sir, I'm driving this bus for past 30 years. I've never ever thought about it like this. Now, do you need any reward?" He asked. My friend asked him, "Do you need any reward, recognition?" "Sir, no, sir. From today, the way I'm going to drive the bus is very different. Every day, now I'm going to think that there is a person who's going to go for his first job. There's a person who's going to meet his wife. There's a person who's going to attend his duties. I'm feeling very different now, sir. I hope I'm answering this question which you asked. If our why is not clear, and if you don't understand that that project you're delivering, that IT project, it's going to make a huge difference to the medical fraternity. That IT project you developed and delivered is going to impact so many people in the particular society, making their lives better. Imagine what kind of satisfaction you get. You will not require any other reward if you think like this. So I think you should keep orienting your team. See, we only talk about the requirement gathering, project architecture, and see so many people doing the project management, and this is the delivery date. You never say why the project, right? Even if it is a complicated project, which the person doesn't understand, tell them you're doing this US oncology project. It's going to impact thousands of cancer patients who are going to come. They are battling for their life. Your project can save so many people. Look at the why. Look at the intention. Even that becomes ibadah. Even doing that work with that intent of pleasing the creator becomes your worship. Think about it. So that's all I have time, because there's another team waiting for me. Jazakallah khair. I hope that answers your question, Abu Bakr. All right, the organizers, I need to leave. I thank you for giving this opportunity, and I look forward to more such sessions with you all.
Thank you so much, sir. On behalf of SAIPA also, morning, our founder, sir, Rabiq sir, was in the program. He joined in the program. He was very happy to see much of the students in the Sunday morning at 9 o'clock. So it was very useful session for all the participants, as well as thanks a lot for spending your precious time. That too, 1 hour you said, and then you have taken up to 10:30. Thanks a lot, sir. Hope so in the
It's my
future we'll be in
pleasure.
touch with you.
Sure.
We will be conducting more classes with the help of yours, sir.
Have a good day. Have a good weekend, all of you. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.